Hi guys, this is all speculation here, but that attack on Hezbollah fighters using pagers yesterday, I was not a fan of it when I heard about it because if a government can intercept something like pagers and put explosives and rig them to explode later on, that's a pretty scary prospect. They can do the same thing to our cars, or the FBI, CIA can do it to American citizens just as easily as they could do it to foreign Hezbollah fighters. But I just heard this morning, for those of you who are also in the ham radio community, that apparently there was a second wave of explosions using Icom radios. Now they ordered them apparently 5 months ago, so I guess there's an argument to be made that they were the new Icom ID52s or some more recent manufactured radios. So if you're a ham radio operator and you bought an Icom D-Star radio, I caution you to make sure you didn't buy it through Timu or the gray market or something like that, because you may have ended up with one of the Hezbollah radios. Again, I'm not a fan of this tactic. It has nothing to do with Israel's right to protect itself, but I'm not a fan of governments going in and rigging consumer products and people applauding that use of consumer products, because that just opens up the door to them, using chips in Ford cars to shut down our vehicles if we try to defy, internment orders or something, lockdown orders or the such, or you left the 15-minute, what they call that, the 15-minute city zone or whatever, and you're in violation of that, or they shut down your vehicle. I mean, Ford just recently filed a patent to be able to shut down your vehicle to allow for the vehicle to be repossessed or whatnot. And it's funny, as a reserve officer, people ask me, well, don't you like that kind of technology? Wouldn't you like to be able to avoid a police chase, to be able to just disable somebody's vehicle and be able to approach them on the side of the road? Yeah, in theory, I would, but here's the problem. Like everything else, I would totally trust my chief to engage in that kind of activity, ethically and responsibly. But, superintendent of state police, the FBI, CIA, or others, absolutely not. I absolutely would not trust them to do that. And so I would be opposed to any such technology, even if it would make the life easier for police officers. I think just like the Patriot Act, there's way too much room for abuse. And as we've seen throughout history, recent and further back, that those abuses just keep coming and they just keep overstepping their bounds. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of rigging these pagers to blow. I guess you could say I'm happy they did it. I'm happy they're fighting back and protecting themselves, but then finding out there are now rigged ham radios out there, and they're using, those kind of methods and technologies to take control of consumer grade gear in order to attack people. Well, if people are okay with that, they're going to do what they did in the lockdowns. They did a soft rollout, and then when people are okay with it, next thing you know, I couldn't stop and pick up a salad or a burger in New York City without showing a vaccine card, which means I had to pack food every day I was working in the city because I wasn't going to show a vaccine card. People didn't complain, and they just went further and further. They'll do the same thing in this front, and before you know it, the FBI and CIA will be using it to spy on people. When I say going to, they already do, but they're also going to be using it to disable people's vehicles that they find to be a potential threat or whatnot. So when you talk about red flag laws and you talk about, all these different situations where, oh, this person was known by the FBI and was under investigation by the FBI and they didn't do anything about them, but then I hear about red flag laws being used against a father and son who were just going up to the range one afternoon, and somebody saw a rifle case in the trunk and reported them and got them red flagged. It's just a matter of abuse of power in the system. So, yep, not a fan of it. And I know if you follow any of the ham radio YouTubers, I know by this afternoon there's going to be a dozen YouTube videos out there about Icom radios now being rigged by the government to explode. Matthew, the average gun owner, just reminding you to, think critically about these kind of things. I know everybody wants to go rah rah, hooray for those who were able to defend themselves in this situation, but keep in mind it was a government entity who rigged these things to blow.